As for Yevgeny Prigozhin, he's in St. Petersburg. Where is he this morning? He might travel to Moscow or he might be elsewhere, but he's not on Belarus's territory.
Now, all of this is raising questions about the fate of Prigozhin, Putin's grip on power, and Russia's war efforts in Ukraine. And to get some clarity on all of this, we're joined by international affairs commentator Douglas Herbert. Doug, you're going to clear this all up for us.
I'm not sure how much clarity I can offer here. I have to excuse myself ahead of time.
Well, that's what you're here for. Has Prigozhin flouted the terms of this supposed deal that was brokered by Lukashenko? What's going on here?
And the follow-up question to that is, was there ever even a deal? Do we know what the deal was? This is really sort of the Putin-era Russian equivalent of Where's Waldo? You know, the giant crowd. You have to find Waldo in his red and white striped shirt there. Look, the truth is, I have this theory, the more you pretend to know about Russia, the more you think you're a specialist on Russia, perhaps the less you actually know about where Prigozhin is, because you know exactly how unpredictable everything is, how there is no real script, how this is making it up as you go along. And anyone who really, you could have any number of theories. What we do know is this. So if you have to stick to the facts and only the facts, ma'am, we know that these questions were put to the spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, Putin's presidential spokesperson, saying, so, where is he, Prigozhin? You know, the Belarusian president says he's not in Belarus, he's in Russia. And what Peskov basically said is, look, we don't follow this guy's every move. We don't have the capability of doing that, and we don't have a desire to do that. There was a follow-up question by reporters, and they said to him, but hold on, but wasn't his leaving, his relocating to Belarus part of this supposed deal that was struck, mediated by, brokered by the Belarusian president and the Kremlin? Wasn't he supposed to be out of the country under that deal? He said, well, yeah, that's what sort of the discussion was about. But there was no concrete answer. There was no categorical answer from Peskov. Yes, that was the deal. And under the terms of that deal, he should right now not be in Russia. He should be in Belarus. So I get back to what I originally said. What's he doing in Russia? We don't really know. What we do know is, yes, some of the press in Russia had reported in recent days and weeks that there had been reported spottings of back-and-forth flights. That this isn't the first time he's gone missing from Belarus. That he has basically had freedom of movement. If we're to believe some of the reports we've heard, right, that he's left Belarus, he's flown to Petersburg, he's gone back to Belarus, flown back to Petersburg. This time, apparently, he was in Moscow. Maybe now going from Moscow to Petersburg. We don't know. What we do, one recent report suggested that he had stopped by the FSB, which is the modern-day KGB headquarters in St. Petersburg on one recent visit in order to pick up a lot of the equipment that had been confiscated by agents during searches and confiscations of the Wagner Group's equipment. So, you know, there is some sort of insinuation that Prigozhin, at the least, is still in a position where he is not about to be whacked by Putin, to use the slang term, right, knocked off in some sort of assassination attempt. And he also seems to have the confidence and the ability to still, if you're to believe these reports, move about freely, but not just move about freely, walk right into the FSB offices and meet with people there, which suggests that behind the facade, if you will, or the propaganda, Potemkin facade of the Russian propaganda campaign, nothing to see here, move on, Putin back in control, Wagner Group being dismantled, the Russian army is absorbing it. It seems to be that the actual story is a lot more nuanced, a lot different, maybe a complete 180-degree change. I will just note that right now the Moscow police and the Moscow region are supposedly undergoing training to step up their own preparedness for these types of future mutinies, the possibility if it happens again. So the appearances notwithstanding, the Russian authorities are still in a sort of defensive posture, it seems, when it comes to Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Alexander Lukashenko, he's known as Europe's last dictator. He's not exactly known for reaching out to reporters.
No, he's not.
Why is he talking to the press?
I know he's a fascinating personality. You could probably write a thesis about him. If any of our viewers are out there and want to do it, please be my guest. I'd love to read it. But look, Lukashenko has been seen as subordinate to Vladimir Putin, the man that Vladimir Putin saved basically from political oblivion after he rigged the 2022 election. There were demonstrations in Minsk. Putin was the guy who came and gave him the muscle, the force to see off the street protests. Years later, though, there's no love lost, and I say this time and again, between Lukashenko and Putin. These are two men who have seen that they need each other. They're dependent, codependents in a sense. And I think this is Lukashenko's way of, yes, he's basked in the glory of being seen as the man who brokered this deal, who saved Putin for, reversing the tables, turning the tables around. But I think he's also trying to show that right now he's trying to sort of assert his authority a little bit. He probably doesn't mind sowing a little bit of confusion, maybe putting the Kremlin on the defensive. When he was asked about this, he said, this isn't, where is he right now? Petersburg, Moscow? He told the reporters, he said, look, this is a Russian company. He's essentially saying, this isn't a question you should put to me. Put this to the Russians. So it's interesting. What game is he playing a game? What's he doing here? And what is sort of the power dynamic now between Lukashenko and Putin, Lukashenko and Prigozhin and Putin? Fascinating. I don't know is the short answer.
Fascinating, and we haven't heard the last word, that's for sure. International Affairs commentator Douglas Herbert. Doug, thanks as always for your insight.